going. Good morning, everyone. We'll give just a few seconds for people to join in. Sorry we're a few minutes late this morning. We had some technical difficulties with this lovely smartboard here, but we're here now. And just a reminder, this is just a quick overview. This is a resume workshop, but once you see it and go through it and everything, if you feel like you want a more in-depth look or some more help or want us to go over your resume with you one-on-one, please feel free to give us a call and you can make an appointment with us. We can sit with you, go over it, help you one-on-one with your resume. Sometimes that's more helpful. So this is just a little quick overview, all the information that we've researched and found and learned ourselves with helping people. So that's where we are this morning. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask right away. We have Brittany, the Youth Career Advisor. She is behind the phone and she's gonna let me know when we have some questions and we will answer them as we go. So please feel free to do that, to ask questions, any questions you want, and we will try to help you the best that we can. And my name's Jenna, by the way. I'm the job developer. And like I said, we have Brittany, the Young Adult Career Advisor, with us too. So, okay, we're gonna start now. So everybody typically knows why you need a resume, but there's a few things you might not know about, why you need a resume. Obviously, there's some specific jobs that you may not need one for. We've had people tell us, they're in some field where they just get a job, which sometimes that works, but 9 times out of 10 you need a resume, or should have a resume, because it is very helpful. It can be a foot in the door, it can be the key to getting you that interview. It highlights all your accomplishments. So on a resume, you're putting all of your accomplishments, what you've achieved, what you've done. So that's a really awesome thing. It also helps show off your skills, what you've done, the experiences that you have. Shows that off to employers, and it also can give you some self-confidence, because if you're looking at your resume, you're looking at all the jobs you've done, the education that you have, maybe awards that you've won, community service that you've done. So you look at all of that and you think, wow, I did all of those things. This is just a little sheet of my accomplishments. So that can make you feel good and give you some confidence in your job search. You want your resume to be a representation of yourself. So just as if you were walking in the door for an interview, meeting with an employer, it's a first impressions type of thing. So if somebody's looking through a stack of resumes, and just like as if they saw a person walking in that, was walking into an interview in sweatpants or just didn't look professional, your resume is kind of the same thing. So you want it to look professional. You want it to look visually appealing. You want somebody to look at your resume and want to know more. With that being said, you don't want it to be overboard. You don't need like clip art and crazy fonts and stuff, but you want it to look very professional. You want it to be easy to follow, eye-catching. You always want them to know more. Now, one common misconception that a lot of job seekers have is that a resume is going to be read word for word, that an employer is going to be looking at your resume and reading it word for word, going over it, and that's how they're going to be deciding. And that's actually not true. For the most part, employers are going through big stacks of resumes, and what they're looking for are resumes to get rid of. So if they see a grammatical error, if your resume just looks scattered everywhere, if it's hard to follow, they're going to get rid of those because that's easier. They're just skimming at first to narrow their pile down. For the most part, I can't speak for all employers, but most of them are just looking to narrow that big pile down and get to the really good resumes, which, like we talked about before, is why you want your resume to be eye-catching. So they see that and they're like, wow, this one looks good, so it gets put to this side, not tossed in the garbage. And also, if you guys are looking for jobs and applying for jobs, something you probably have realized is that Mostly everything is online now. So you're submitting resumes online, you're applying to jobs online. And when you're applying to jobs online, you're probably submitting your resume and then also having to retype all that information over again in the application. So these systems often use screening systems that are looking for keywords. So they're looking for keywords for specific jobs that this system is going to pick up. And if you don't have those, you could be the most qualified applicant, but your resume can sometimes just get shot right through the system if you don't have what they're looking for. So make sure you're targeting your resume for the job that you are applying for. And you want to use those keywords. A good way to do that is look for job descriptions. So if you're applying for a certain job, go read what the job description says and weave those words and those job description into your resume so you know that that's going to go through. And pay close attention to detail. So just an example of some keywords. Let's say you're applying for a job for an administrative assistant. Some keywords you might want to use in there would be computer skills, word processing, transcription, dictation, spreadsheets, professional appearance, project management. Over here, some examples for a customer service representative. Some words you might want to use are analyze, client relations, communication skills, research, multitasking. You get the idea. So if you're not sure about keywords, like I said, look at the job description. That's your number one spot, because the job you're applying for is posting that job description, so that's obviously what they're looking for. Another idea is how I found these keywords was I just Googled it to give you guys an example. So Google keywords for, resume keywords for whatever job you're looking for, and that can help you too. So, a cover letter. Sometimes people don't use cover letters, and once again, sometimes specific jobs don't require cover letters. If you've been in construction all your life and that's all you're going to keep doing, you may not need a cover letter. But a cover letter can be a really wonderful thing, and I always recommend it to everyone, especially if you're going from one field to another field. A cover letter can be a great way to give more detail, give more of your personality a little bit, and it just gives a little bit more than what's just on your resume. For a cover letter, you want to keep it brief. You don't want any 3-page, 4-page thing, because nobody wants to read that. Let's be honest. 3 paragraphs I think is perfect. You can make it up to 5 if you feel you need to. And once again, you want this to catch the employer's attention. Right from the start, you want it to catch their attention and make them want to read on and know more about you. For the introductory paragraph, all you want is just a little quick snippet of your qualifications and why they'd be a good fit for the position you're applying for. You don't want your cover letter to be generic, because they will know. If you have just one letter that you're giving out to all jobs, they're going to know that you're just looking for a job, not the specific job. So if it's a job you really want, you want your cover letter to be specific. Look up information on the company that you can weave into your cover letter. Look for the specific person that you can send a cover letter to. Make it seem that you're excited to apply for this position, and that your skills can back it up. An example of a good introductory paragraph for a cover letter is something as simple as, "It is with enthusiasm I submit my application for your insert position here at insert company here, with my background in," let's say, customer service, whatever it may be, along with my attention to detail, hard work ethic, and let's say if you have a certification, you put that there. And once again, these are all skills that you can replace with your own. I know I'd be a perfect fit to join the blank team, whatever company you're applying for. That's simple, to the point, but also gives a lot of information at the same time and shows you're excited for this specific job. In the body paragraphs, you do not just want to repeat your resume. They don't want to look at your cover letter and then see the same exact thing on your resume. So get a little more in detail. Here's where you can highlight your most important qualifications, your accomplishments and skills, and why they would be useful for the position that you're applying for. You want to do, like I said before, thorough research on the company company so you know about them, their company. If you go to companies' websites, oftentimes you can find the company's goals, their mission, their beliefs, all different kinds of things that if you can take those out and weave them into your cover letter and your resume, that shows so much to the company that you're applying for. It shows you really did your research and that you're interested in that job specifically. You also want to focus on what you can do for the company, not what they can do for you. They want to know how you're going to help them, how you are going to help them grow, not what they can do for you. Now here's a little example of a body paragraph that I found on, I think I found it on Google or something. Just a little few snippets from it. In my current position, I maintain an exceedingly functional office environment while providing administrative support for a fast-paced production company. Then goes on here to say, additionally, I am adept at, and then lists a few things here. And the most important part down here is where this person says, as a part of the team at Lyle Tax Professionals, I hope to provide first-rate administrative support and organization to your firm. So here they're listing all their skills, what they're good at, but then down here they're saying, and I can help your company with these skills. And then to wrap it all up, you just want to summarize why you're a good fit for the job, state that you'd welcome an interview at any time, and that you look forward to hearing back from them. Once again, like the resume, you want them to know more. So try and leave a little hanging there. Make them want to reach out to you and know more. Here's an example of a closing paragraph, and I always include this one in here. It's actually mine from when I started this job a few years ago, and I was told by somebody that they really liked my cover letter, and I got the job, so I always just include my closing paragraph as an example. It says, I'm beyond excited to start building my career, and I can't imagine a better place to do so than Treehab. I'm looking for an exciting and rewarding professional opportunity, and what's more rewarding than helping others? Because that's what we do here, so once again, I'm showing that that's what I want to do. I thank you. I'm thanking them in advance for considering me as a candidate. I can guarantee that my commitment, enthusiasm, and desire to work with others will proudly represent Treehab. Thank you. I look forward to meeting with you. So once again, I'm showing that I also have qualities that their company values. So that's really important to do your research. Some do's and don'ts for a cover letter. Once again, these are kind of things we already went over, but do research. Research, I can't stress that enough. Spell check, have multiple people read over it to make sure you don't have grammatical errors, any little mistakes. Try to address a specific person. You want to try to stay away from to whom it may concern. If you can do your research and find out who the HR person is, the recruiter, whoever it may be, try to find a specific person. If not, still try to stay away from to whom it may concern and maybe put something like, Dear Human Resources Team, or something like that. Highlight your skills and accomplishments and why they'd be beneficial. Some don'ts. Once again, don't be generic. You want to be specific if you really want that job. No typos, abbreviations, no text lingo. You don't want to put any LOLs or any of that stuff that you use in text. That's usually an instant garbage resume, cover letter. You don't want to focus on yourself. Once again, that kind of makes you look conceited. You want to show them instead how your skills are going to be a good fit for them. You don't want to use a weak opening. You want to make yourself stand out. Make them want to read that letter. And you don't want to put them to sleep. So we don't need multiple page cover letters. Like I said, I think 3 paragraphs is perfect. If you have a lot more information, you can make it a little longer, but I would say you definitely don't want to go over 1 page. I think you'll lose interest after that. Alright, now back to the resume and actually writing the resume. Before you begin, there's a few things that you want to remember. This is your first impression. You're applying to a job. This resume is your first impression before meeting the person. Just like the cover letter, try to not use the one-size-fits-all approach. You want your resume to make you stand out. One mistake, like we said before, can get your resume put in the garbage, which you don't want, just for a simple mistake. You want to use powerful action verbs, which we'll get to when we talk about the body of the resume. And just like a cover letter, you want to try and keep it short, sweet, and to the point. You don't want to leave out important information, but you also don't want it to be so long that you're losing people's interest. So keep it brief, try to, and use consistency. Formatting is a huge thing for resumes. You want it to flow nicely, look professional, so things need to be consistent, which we'll show you later. And if you have an email address, make sure it's appropriate. This seems like a no-brainer, but we have had some people who have some very questionable email addresses that when employers see that, they're going to be like, no. So, you know, if you have an old email address that you used from years ago or something, that's fine. You don't have to get rid of it. But if you're seriously in your job search, applying for jobs, hop on Gmail and make a quick new email address that's just your name or something simple if you have a crazy email address. For the header of your resume, you want this to make you stand out, but also not go over the top. So you want your font to be professional and your font size typically to be between 10 and 14, which once again, not a huge deal, that's just what's recommended. And you want your fonts to be consistent. You don't want to use a different font for your header, a different font for your body, a different font for your closing. You don't want to do that. Here's some examples of some resume headers. Here's one that looks professional. This stands out, but it's not crazy over the top. It's easy to read, professional looking. Here, this is doing stuff like this is just way too much. You're looking for a professional job, so something like this is just not going to be appealing for anybody. I shouldn't say anybody. It depends on the job you're applying for. If it's a really creative, fun job or something, you know, that might be different. There's always different circumstances for different jobs, but these are just the basics. So one of the most common things from resumes that people think they need to have, but they do not, is an objective. That's kind of a dying trend, and if you think about it, it's kind of a pointless trend. Most objectives are to obtain a position in so-and-so, which they know that, that's why you're applying for the job. So something really great to use is a summary. A summary is just a little snippet of your qualifications. It just shows basically your whole resume, your whole cover letter in a tiny little paragraph, which is a great thing because like you want them to know more, which is what a summary does. So not saying that you can't use an objective, but if you're going to, make sure it stands out and is a good fit for the job you're applying for. An example of a decent objective statement would be to assist your company in growth and expansion in the customer service position with my extensive skills and 10 years of experience in customer service. So that's a decent objective, but you can still take all of these words and put them into a really great summary, which I will give you an example of once we're done with this slide. Here's an example down here. Director of Inventory Planning and Management, branch manager, 9 years in progressive roles with large regional chains, financial responsibility to $35 million. So that's just an example of an objective. I'm going to show you on the resume template another really simple summary statement that pretty much anyone can just put their own words in and use this one. Example, reliable customer service representative. Once again, you would take out customer service rep and put in whatever your title is. And if you don't have a specific one, you could use a simple word like reliable professional, reliable team player, depending on the job, reliable. There's a lot of different words you can use there. Successful at, and here's where you could take these out and put whatever you are successful at. Maintaining customer satisfaction and motivated to contribute to company success. Areas of expertise include time management, hard work ethic, interpersonal, written, and oral communication skills. Once again, you can take these skills out and put in whatever's your skills are. So this is a nice summary statement that anybody could use, and it's just simple and to the point. Now to the body of the resume, which is really a really important part. This is where your employment history, professional experience, education, really whatever you want is all found. So you want to list your most recent employment first. So when you're listing all of your professional history, you want to make sure most recent comes first. You want to try not to leave gaps. That's kind of a big no-no. Employers don't like gaps, but sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes you have gaps. So just have a good reason to explain it. Explain that gap. Strong action verbs, like we talked about before, which we're going to show you here, and then we'll go back to the resume template to show you there. Actually, I'll probably do that at the end, go over the resume template with you guys, but focus on achievements rather than duties. So this is really important because a lot of people have jobs that they might not think were great, or you didn't do things in them that you feel like would be applicable to another job. But you've always done more things than you think you have. And if anything, you can always make it sound better. So just an example, here's some basic job descriptions that some people would put. Greeted children and families as they entered, garbage cleanup, toy sales. So these same things we're putting down here, but just making them sound better. Assisted, and I use Disney World here, I don't remember why, but that's the examples we have. So assisted, see there's a strong action verb, Disney World and the success of being awarded most friendly theme park staff of 2015. Just an example, but makes this sound so much better. Garbage cleanup, reduced waste in the park and helped be classified as a green park, named the cleanest park in the state of Florida, so on and so forth. So something like that. Let's say you did garbage cleanup. You helped reduce waste at your job. You helped it be a safer work environment, a cleaner work environment. And there's another strong action verb, reduced. Sales, here we have aided company in its most successful sales year in history, something like that. So there's always ways that you can make things sound better. And if you're not sure and you're not sure what to write, if you're having a hard time thinking of descriptions, there's this really great website that you can go to that I will show you right now. It's called Job Hero. So you just go to jobhero.com, you can come down here and enter a job title. So let's just say kitchen cook, because a lot of people have that job sometimes and think that it means nothing. But there's always skills that you use in every job that are going to be important no matter what. So down here is some descriptions that look so much better than just cleaning, cooking. Multitask, that's a great word to use, and that you are doing that, you're multitasking between all of the above tasks during rushes, completed training, cooked, let's see some more here. They have a bunch, this is a great website, and they pretty much have any job you can think of. Maintained and performed daily cleanup throughout the shifts. That sounds like a great job description that you would never even think of when you're listing them for a kitchen cook. So this is just an example of how you can always make things sound better than they are, and not only make things sound better, but just give yourself more credit, because every job you have used skills that you probably don't even think about that are applicable in all jobs. For education, if you're listing this, you want to list the name of the institution, dates you attended, city and state. You don't have to list your GPA, but if it's really good and you want to kind of brag yourself up a little bit, list that GPA. If you've done any really great projects, anything like that, if they're going to be applicable for your job, especially if you just graduated and don't have a lot of job experience. Sometimes school stuff can be a really big help. Here's just an example of how education should look on your resume, which once again we'll go over at the end on the template. So if you are just graduating from college, or even if you were recently there or something and you took some classes that you think would be really important to your job, just list relevant coursework and then list a few of the classes that you took that you think would be important. Some other things that you could include in your body, if you're finding there's a lot of white space, you're running out of room, you've only had one job for the past 20 years, you can list awards if you've won any. Let's say you were Employee of the Month, or you are a driver and you haven't had an accident in 20 years, stuff like that, you can list in an awards and achievement section. Skills sections, we see a lot of people that come in with skills sections. It's not that you can't have one, but we recommend that you really don't, because any one of us or any one of you watching can sit there and list 50 skills that you supposedly have, but you want to show them that you do have those skills. Put them in your job description, show how you use them instead of just listing them. Interests, if you can find a way to show how your interests or hobbies make you a good fit for the job, you can list an interest section. An example would be you love to remodel cars as a hobby and you're applying for a mechanical job. Activities, if you're a part of any clubs or organizations, anything like that, you can list that as a section. Community service or volunteer work, you can use that as a section to list things you've done in your community, volunteer work you've done. I want to forewarn though, be careful with that, because sometimes it really depends on the job you're applying for. I had somebody one time who was a volunteer firefighter, and he had listed that on his resume, but he said in some instances that kind of was a hindrance, because they thought since he was a volunteer firefighter that would be consuming a lot of his time, and that could possibly affect your chances. If they think you're doing something that's going to be very time consuming, affect you at the job, so just use your discretion with that. And one of my favorite sections that you can put on a resume, and it's very uncommon, a lot of people can't do it, but if you can, it can be a really great thing. It's called endorsements or customer comments. So if you've ever got any really great feedback from former employees, I give the prime example of, I had a gentleman come in one time and he had a whole slew of reference letters from different employers, bosses, jobs. So what we did was we took little snippets from these letters where they said something really great about him, how he had used his skills, always on time, reliable, whatever it may be. And we listed it kind of just like a job description. So we put who said it, what the company was, the dates, and then we just listed the comments that were put on that letter, because this shows your skills in an actual comment from a former employer, whatever it may be. It shows that you're telling the truth because you're putting who said it, the company that you worked for, and if you have something like this can be a really great thing to use, because this shows your skills right from the mouth of someone you worked with or for before. Resume don'ts. Once again, no typos or grammatical errors. This is such a huge thing that you want to make sure you're having people read your resume, proofread, multiple people, because that could make you lose your chances if you have one simple error. So you don't have to list personal information. They technically really can't ask that. So your age, gender, nationality, sexual orientation, none of that is something that you have to list. You don't want to put important information at the end. So if there's something really great, if you won this huge award for your company or something, somehow put that up top, because that's where they're paying the most attention from top to bottom. Don't be arrogant. Let your resume, your skills, your experience speak for itself. Don't make your resume a headache to look at. You don't want it to be too busy, visually unappealing. You want it to be nice to look at, flow easy, and make them want to look at it. And this should go without being said, but don't lie. I mean, you might get away with it at first if you lie about something, but eventually they'll probably find out, and you don't want that to happen. So, resume do's. Focus on your results. Don't focus on what you did. Focus on the results from that, what you achieved. Use strong action verbs, like I said. Google is a great one. That Job Hero website I showed you guys is a great one, and I'm going to show you another little tip. This is our last slide, and then I'm going to show you our resume template and show you another great tip for strong action verbs. Be creative. Make your resume look different. Make it stand out without going overboard. Consistency, like we said, if you're using bullets, use bullets here. If you're using bold here, use bold here. If you're italicizing your job title here, make sure you're doing it for the other ones. 2 pages maximum is really what you should have. If you can keep it to 1 page, try to do that, because that's easier to look at, more simple, and they like that better. But with that being said, you don't want to leave important information out. Don't use the one-size-fits-all approach. Create a specific resume for different jobs. If you're really interested in them, use your keywords and follow up. So you send your resume and you don't hear anything back, and we're telling our clients this all the time. We'll ask them, how did you hear from them? Have you got an interview or something? No. And then we say, did you call them? No. So within a few days or a week, if you haven't heard back, give them a call and just say, hi, my name is Jenna. I recently applied for your job as a customer service rep, and I just was calling to see if there was any more information that I could give you, or if there was any next steps that needed to be taken. Something like that, just so you're fresh in their memory. They're thinking about you. They might go back and look at your resume, so follow up. They say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I think that's the saying, but that's true in this case too. So that is all for our presentation. And once again, if you have questions, even if you're watching this after, go ahead and ask your questions in the comments, because we can still see that and we'll still be able to answer. Or you can email us or call us. Here I'm just going to show you the resume template that I talked about. And if you guys are interested in having this is a Word document, so I can email it, or you could come in and use it on our computers if you're interested. So this is just a basic resume template that I created in Word, so it's really simple to do. This is the header, like we talked about. I put a section up here that you don't have to have, but once again, it's helpful if this is like your dream job or a job you really want, position applying for, and the company. So you could put customer service rep, Walmart. Here's the summary, which we already went over. That's where you would put that. Now here comes your body sections, where your job history is. So you see how everything flows really nicely. The formatting is consistent. We have bold here, bold here. These job descriptions all look exactly the same, with just the different words. So here's our action verbs: assisted, implemented, reduced, developed, resolved, counseled. I'm telling you, Google is a great help. You can go Google strong action verbs. You can go to thesaurus.com. If you can only think of a certain word, type that word in and it'll give you a bunch of other ones. Or another great help, if you have Word, and this is where you're doing your resume, if you're typing a word and it's just all you can think of, you can't think of another word, right click on that word. Maybe it won't let me do it. Looks like it's not going to let me do it right now. But in Word, if you right click on a letter, let me see if I can go down here and do it. Okay, so right here I typed helped. I don't know if you can see it, it's probably small, but I typed in helped. You right click on it, you can come down here and there's a synonym section. So you click on the synonyms and come over here and it gives you synonyms for that word. So helped, you have aided, assisted, facilitated. All the same thing, but some of them just sound much better and more professional than helped. So that's a really cool thing, I think, that I like to show everyone, especially if you're using Word for your resume. Here's the education section, and like I said, this is really consistent too. And then down here is where you could put your other sections, whether it be awards, honors, community service, whatever it may be, you can list that there. So something like this is just a basic resume template. It's consistent, it's professional, it's easy, and it just looks good. It catches people's eye, and something as simple as that. So that's the resume workshop in a nutshell. Like I said, if you want more one-on-one help, more questions that you have, please feel free to call us, email us. My number is 570-662-8113. You can call me, set up an appointment to help one-on-one with your resume. Shoot us an email if you're interested in coming in or you want this template or a cover letter template. We can send that to you, and you could find our emails on our Facebook pages and everything. And if you can just do us a favor, and if you like this video, you thought it was helpful, you like these live videos, react, give us like a smiley face or a thumbs up or a heart or whatever you can do to this video to like it. Do that for us, because if it was helpful and you guys liked it, we'll do more things like this, because we have a lot more workshops as well. So thank you everyone who tuned in or who's watching this later, and if you're looking for jobs, good luck, and call us if you need help.